What happens when everything you love is suddenly gone? When the life you built, your family, your success, your peace, crumbles in a single day? Most people would lose hope. But one man long ago faced that storm, and his story became one of the greatest lessons in human faith. This is the story of Job, the man who lost everything, yet never lost God. In a quiet land called Uz lived a man named Job. He was known as honest, generous, and deeply devoted to God. Job was the kind of man everyone respected, not because of his wealth, but because of his heart. And he was blessed, richly blessed. He had a large family, 7 sons, 3 daughters, and many servants. He owned thousands of animals and acres of land, but above all, he had peace, the kind of peace that comes from a clean heart and a grateful life. Every morning, Job prayed for his children, offering sacrifices just in case they had done wrong. He wanted his family to live right before God. It seemed nothing could shake his world. But unseen to him, a test was being written in heaven. One day, in the heavenly realm, an accuser challenged God. He claimed that Job's faith was shallow, that Job only served God because of his blessings. If you take away what he has, the accuser said, he'll curse you. And so God allowed Job's faith to be tested, not to destroy him, but to reveal what was real inside him. Then the unthinkable happened. In one devastating day, Job's world collapsed. Raiders attacked his land and stole his animals. Lightning struck his flocks. Enemies carried off his camels. And a great wind destroyed the house where his children were feasting, taking all 10 of them in an instant. Imagine the silence after that. A father standing in ruins, surrounded by loss too heavy for words. But Job did not curse God. He fell to the ground, grieving, yet he whispered words that echo through time. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Still the test deepened. The accuser returned again. If Job's health is destroyed, his faith will collapse. Soon Job's body was covered with painful sores. He was so weak he sat among ashes, scraping his skin with a piece of pottery. His strength faded. His friends doubted him. Even his wife turned away. And yet Job still refused to turn his back on God. He asked questions, yes, deep, honest ones. He wept. He cried out in confusion. But even in his pain, one thing remained unbroken: his faith. The world around him grew small. His wealth was gone. His children were gone. His health was gone. Even his friends' words became salt in his wounds. And yet, deep in that silence, Job clung to one fragile hope: that his Redeemer lives. Days turned into nights and nights into days. His friends began to speak, each trying to explain why such suffering had come. They said maybe he sinned, maybe God was punishing him. But Job, though broken and confused, refused to lie about his innocence. He didn't understand why this was happening, but he never turned his heart away from God. After all the tears and
Where are
silence, a
you?
storm began to rise. From the
I'm all alone.
God spoke, but he didn't explain Job's pain. He revealed his greatness. He asked, "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundations? Can you command the morning? Can you loosen the stars?" It wasn't a rebuke. It was a revelation. God reminded Job that there are mysteries far beyond human understanding. That even when life makes no sense, God's wisdom is still at work. In that moment, Job saw what he could not before. He realized that faith is not about having answers. It's about trusting the one who does. Job bowed low and said, "I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know." Peace returned. God restored Job's life, not just in wealth, but in spirit. He gave him double what he lost: more children, more years, more joy. But this time Job's faith was deeper, no longer tied to comfort or success, but anchored in trust. He had walked through the darkest valley and found that God was still there. Job teaches us that faith isn't proven in the sunlight. It's revealed in the storm. It's not about understanding why things happen, but trusting that even in pain, God still has a plan. So when your own world falls apart, remember Job. He lost everything, yet held on to the one thing that mattered most, his faith. And in the end, it was enough. When everything is gone, faith remains. Sometimes God's greatest lessons are born in our deepest pain. Job's story reminds us that no storm lasts forever, and that even when we can't see the plan, the hand of the Creator never leaves us.